Honestly, it's dark and a blizzard outside, and I think that the cozy vibes of the Roottrees are dead is a perfect game for me to record tonight. And I've been a complete piece of garbage and recorded the first video and then left you for a week and a half without the next one. So we're back. We're back. You guys gave me a good point. Joanna Fellows may not be a secretary anymore. Which means that potentially we could get her locked in if we knew her job now. I kind of forgot that was a thing. So Joanna Fellows was his mom. Zach Morton's secretary. His mother Joanna was Zach Morton's secretary when he retired, and then Guy Hudson's secretary until she quit. Okay, and then moved to Portland. Movie rental store where she worked the register, and then they found her dead due to an overdose. So theoretically, we could change you to a retail, right? You worked in retail. Did not lock in anything, which is mighty unfortunate. That's mighty unfortunate. I suppose you were a preacher. I mean, you worked retail. That should have locked you. Okay, that's fine. We can continue to think about it. You work the register. Movie rental store. That's retail, brother. I mean, unless there is movie store on here. But, I mean, she was a cashier. She worked the register. She was a cashier. I guess. I guess. Guy Hudson was the president, but there's a chance he did something after, right? Definitely a chance. Okay, we're just gonna hop back in. Okay, we're just gonna hop back in. If you missed the last episode, I mean, hey, go watch that first. There's still plenty of things for us to look into here. And I think that the most important thing that we can start with is Sam Madson's book. Okay? So 6 Pieces by Sam Madson has to be like our first line of thinking here. So Public Library, this is Sam Madson, book title 6 Pieces. Was released earlier this year, details the truth about Elias Roottree as well as Sam Father's Edward Clancy Roottree and John Miller. You helped verify the story, so much seems familiar. Sections have been added to our notes. Forgot that we already added those to the notes, but that's fine. That just now means it's this. So let's start reading and let's start highlighting. We're going to make this the 6 Pieces book. And we're going to start things going. Sam's book had a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. Ran the farm for a period of time until her daughter Gwyneth took over. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson. Took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy. According to 6 Pieces, it was an open secret to family that Guy, blah, 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 not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. I suppose we could... We don't... No. Patricia, I guess, probably is not on the list, is my bet. So let's not worry about Patricia at this time. Many of their hires at the time were young single women. Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. 20 years ago, Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelli's. Okay, well, we know we have one of Sam's farm supervisors. Let's highlight this. I also want to look up Antonelli's, a local restaurant, because who knows? They eloped quickly due to her pregnancy. Okay. Elizabeth wasn't aware the party was for swingers. Rumor has it her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding markets previously untapped by Roottree. However, when he went on a trip overseas, there were often for weeks at a time And Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meeting with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. That has to be important. I didn't want to search that. I just wanted to do a little highlight. Also, a section of Sam speculates Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, she always got the impression Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage. Mentions they were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, different Elizabeth than the supervisor from the farm, but never met her. I'm not really sure this is important because it doesn't play into this storyline, but it is good to know. I mean, we didn't gain really anything from this. I thought that this was going to be a way more important book for me, but it was not. We know that's Guy. We know that that is Joanna. We really should be able to lock something in here, which is what's concerning. Is David Fellows... I mean, David Fellows is definitely a musician right now. He's a rapper. I mean, is rapper actually on the board instead of musician? Okay, I'm glad that that's not the case. She was definitely a cashier working in retail. Guy Hudson was definitely the president, unless after he retired as the president, he became like a public speaker or something. Miracle Roottree. I just want to see if maybe he was not a preacher later in life. But I definitely think that he was still a preacher. Farewell tour. I mean, I suppose he could be a speaker. He plans to continue preaching at his own church. I mean, he's a preacher, brother. He's definitely a preacher. So then that really brings it down to that Guy probably did something after the fact that we don't know of yet. But as we unpack more of the history here, maybe we can find something, okay? Maybe we can find something. Let's go back to this, the Roottree Rift. Let's give this a search. 3 press releases from the Roottree Candy Company after the release of 6 pieces were referred to as the Roottree Rift. First was fairly standard, stated there was no president, but the entire family was made aware of the release of the book. Only then they could verify the legitimacy. Second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottree would be taking over temporarily as an interim president. Okay. Ron was aware of the book, verified the claims within, would look into compensating Mrs. Madson, revisit the Clanset Trust, quickly cleared to business reporters and analysts that the time between the 2 press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family even using conference calls. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came that day, claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely and that Clark Rafferty LaRoe and Ron Roottree would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. Also stated that any compensation plan would be based on stringent verification. Give me a sec to just search this. I'm glad that anytime they put things in quotes, I tend to search it. Maybe stupid, but let's give a quick search to Ron Roottree. Let's also do a quick reminder of who Ron Roottree is. Not for me, but definitely for you, because I remember everything. This is Margot Roottree, which is one of the 5 pieces. Her daughter, Gwyn, who is the actor. Her twin sons, Robert and Ronnie. Ron had some problems, or Robert had some problems. One of them had some problems. And then Ron is now the one that has become interim president along with Clark, which is messed up because neither one of them is qualified to be a president of a company. It's some nepo baby nonsense, but I'm fine with it. Ron was announced as president of the Roottree during Roottree Rift. Next press release immediately reversed the announcement and said that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped entirely. Hundreds of results about this development, but most articles are retelling basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. That's important. Ron has also done some interviews saying the truth of what went behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release it as a movie. 3 weeks ago, Gwyn died in Paris. He and his brother Robbie have seemingly made amends. Okay, I mean, let's definitely look into Business Watch here. So Business Watch, Ron Roottree. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottree rift. What really happened with Roottree? Article mentions nobody from Roottree that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. Only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. Timeline says family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl died, but before the release of 6 Pieces, and decided they wanted Ron to take over because of his experience running RR Productions. Well-known, well-respected Roottree, Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the clan said trust to remove Robbie. Family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled. Ron became frustrated. When 6 Pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while his family was in the limelight and released the press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch's source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the clan said trust, and they let him go. Unfortunately, I'm not sure anything matters here. I'm gonna do a search on Robbie. Oh my god, okay. Well, there is stuff here. Released from a French prison after serving a few years for assault. Embezzlement and arrest were partially featured in the 6 Pieces, as Robbie's participation in the clan said trust was a key piece of evidence, since become much more publicly infamous. Not yet returned to the US, when journalists reached out to him recently after the death of his mother, he issued a blanket statement. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending time together caring for her in mourning, have finally made amends. Highly transformative few weeks when it came to our relationship. I'm in recovery from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. Good for you, Robbie, that you have made amends. That's good. I wish some of this was useful, man. But I don't see where any of this is useful. Let's do a quick RR Productions research. Seems to have nothing in development. Fair enough. Carl should not have anything. Many websites and news articles eulogize Carl along with his daughters and wife Brenda. As far as you can tell, Carl and Brenda never had any marital issues. You do come across an article about a Kristen Valdez, who claims to have been Carl's high school sweetheart before Brenda. She does not make any claim about having a child with him. She just appeared to be paid to talk about his early life. Most of it's boring. She says they met when he was sent to a private school near her hometown and broke up when he graduated and moved back to Butler County. I'll go down the vibe, okay? So Kristen Valdez, but I mean he moved back to Butler County, so I'm not expecting much here. But we do have the periodical for Butler County Times. I'll give it a search. Nothing. I'll give it a Carl Roottree. I highly doubt there's anything new here. Yeah, just the plane crash. The ones that mention Ernie Jr. I really don't care about. How about just the Roottrees? Posted many. That hasn't been updated in 8 months. I don't know, brother. Doesn't feel like overly useful to me right now. So that's most of the Roottree rifts that we've gone down. So that's not super useful. I guess we could go like Business Watch and then Roottree rifts. Yeah, it's just that. How about Butler County Times Roottree rifts? News Times Roottree rifts? News Time Roottree? Silver Screen Magazine Roottree? Many stuff. Starlit Roottree. Teen Blast Roottree. Tough. Okay. What I really have no idea what... I got no clue what we are supposed to get from that. We've not done much on Carl. I suppose let's start. Business Watch, Carl Rafferty. Carl Rafferty LaRoe, as well as Ruby Spratt and her company Ruby Legal Enterprises, were featured in Business Watch after the company took over as the keepers of the Clan Said Trust. article about the process that interviews both of them. Seems that Ruby actually approached the Roottrees sometime in late March after the Roottree rift, but well before Roottreemania. Accomplished but relatively low-profile lawyer, offered the work for very little money so long as she could be a public face to build her rep. Family jumped quickly. Many family members often attempt to spend as little as possible to keep their shares of the Clanstead Trust as high as possible. They're literally the worst people of all time, it's fine. After looking over the Clanstead Trust more carefully than anyone in years, came to the conclusion that Clanstead Edward Rootree's implementation was not legally sound. There would be constant legal challenges without some modifications. Family decided to put her in charge of the trust both legally and as a public face to prevent further issues. Been described as a mix between a law firm and a PR firm. First move was sort of a trial run. Helped them draft a public statement accepting Sam into the family and declaring they begin to address the Clanstead Trust. They officially hired her in April. Ruby Legal now in charge of many financial parts of this, including verifying any claims to the trust, organizing charitable causes, etc. I think we've looked up like everything involving Ruby Spratt at this point, but I'm gonna just do the quick. I mean, Clark ain't gonna be in Starlit, brother. You ever looked at him? His ass ain't showing up in Starlit. So Business Watch. Let's go Ruby Spratt. Yeah, it's just gonna be this. There is an older version of this page. Clanstead Trust. It's just the Clanstead Trust. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure that Ruby Spratt, there's anything really here. We looked up Ruby Legal Enterprises on Spider Search before. Yeah, we've definitely been here. And we've looked up what was the PR that they had. It's just that it's a PR firm. Ruby Legal. I don't think we've technically looked up Ruby Legal. It's just it's enterprises. Fair enough. Okay. Have we looked up Roottreemania? Roottreemania immediately following the announcement that the rapper going by 5Ps was actually a Roottree. Because of all of it, daytime talk shows, I'm a Secret Roottree episodes. I'd like to know more about that. Let's just call this Roottreemania. We're gonna do that in there. Late night hosts and guests made jokes about other lost members of the family. Widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find out if you were a secret Roottree. When you submitted your name, it simply said no with an image of Clark giving you the finger. It's an incredible, incredible website. Can I find it, please? Roottreemania lasted only a few weeks, long enough for 6 pieces to re-enter the charts. Triggered new printings of other Roottree-related media. This includes Lauren's diaries, VHS releases of Gwyn's old movies, and countless other unauthorized biographies. That seems, like, really good. These re-releases were too late to successfully capitalize on or extend the craze. As a result, most were failures, and countless novelty shirts had variations of I'm a Secret Roottree, but became immediately unfashionable, though some people still wear them unironically. I need to know far more about I'm a Secret Roottree. Really? Nothing? That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. I wanted that. How about a Lauren Roottree, since she went back into circulation? In the wake of 6 pieces released, Lauren Roottree, author of A Life Between Wars, was tracked down by a reporter as being in the most upscale memory care facility in Pittsburgh. Relocated back to Pennsylvania when she began suffering from Alzheimer's. That's depressing. There was a minor backlash towards the reporter that tracked her down because they were caught standing on a ladder and holding their camera over the privacy wall to take a photo of Lauren and her son Clark sitting on a bench. Holy crap. That's absolutely awful. But theoretically, that's going to be in a damn, going to be in here somewhere, probably like Starlit. It's not going to be on Teen Blast, brother. Silver Screen Magazine, probably not Modern Music Monthly. This is 8 years old. Piketty, I don't even know what the hell this is. I don't remember that one. Okay. That's tough, because I'm sure that picture is somewhere. But it is not somewhere where I can get it. How about Gwyn? Gwyn Roottree. Well-known actress, active in the 1950s, died in Paris, France. Made no effort to stay in the limelight, tending to her largest role, Guys Like Us. Died peacefully in her sleep as she was being treated for pneumonia. Relatively good health, 67. That's tough. Do we know anything about Guys Like Us? 1953 comedy. Okay. Recently re-released on the first time on home video due to Roottreemania. Time it took to manufacture and ship VHS copies meant to miss the height of the craze. Brother, there's so many useless information things in here. Leslie Florence. Guys Like Us. Nothing about you. Harrison Lane. Sorry, I'm being stupid. I keep on hitting the search button instead of searching these. Harrison Lane. No connections is a dead end. Fair enough. Take me back. Leslie Florence. You important? The other actress in Guys Like Us, she was in very small roles. Performance was generally thought of as good, especially considering she got second billing. Even with success and acclaim, she retired from Hollywood. Not much was known until recently. Recently, as part of the myriad of articles and research that have gone out, claims that she died from Huntington's disease. It's an awful genetic disease. Tough, again. That said, it does say that she might be important, brother, which, because it doesn't say she's not. So that's wild to me. That's wild to me. If I were to go to the wall and attempt to put in somebody, is Florence a last name? It's not. Okay, then you're not important. Because you won't be on here. I don't think this is important. I mean, I think that this is a nice catch-up of Gwyn. I think that these are what we want to know about. But I'm not sure we're going to get there. Let's try a Brenda Roottree. Many eulogizing. Yeah, it's tough. Kristen Valdez. I'm just not sure we care, man. Not sure we care. Looking at this, there's not many, like this possible infidelity 1 in 1921. So this is going to be freaking Elias Roottree. Elias M. Roottree. Because you're this one, right? I guess you're just Elias Roottree. You're the original president, okay? You're president the first. We don't have a picture of you anymore. You're not Elias M. You're just Elias. But then that makes sense. We know that you're in Elizabeth. But we don't know your last name at all. So maybe let's try to go down that path. Elias Roottree. Elias and Gwyneth Roottree were never really celebrities, but the general public's perception of them as classic faces associated with Roottree Candy Company always been in somewhat high regards. Elias's intention as a family man with his family brand. Since Six Pieces, the candy company has placed much less of an emphasis on him as a historical brand-connected figure. There have been those who have argued it was in his right to decide how to split his inheritance, and he did nothing wrong. This has led to heated television exchange and countless op-eds. We could start to look for him in periodicals as well. First, Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special tours. However, it's seen an explosion of off-season business as some religious and political groups decided to show support for their traditional values and financial rights. Yep, we understand what that means. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimages. Amongst this, the farm has been since shut down, seemingly indefinitely. The website says check back later, but has no date listed. Quotes from Bess Williams' book appears to have been taken down. Bess Williams' book. Okay, I would like to know more about this. Let's start with the first Anderson Maple Farm and do a search here. Yeah, fair enough. So Bess Williams as a book. Bess Williams. We need to do just a search on Bess Williams. And then we'll get who her book is. So Bess Williams. Author born in the late 1800s. Late 1800s. Lived just outside Miami. Died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1929. But has a minor family with the Roottrees. Her only notable book, Family Man, widely considered blatant propaganda about Elias Roottree, had been all but forgotten until recently when it re-released during the height of Roottreemania. Site dedicated to hurricane statistics also mentioned Bess Williams. The Bocadoro Library, not far from where she lived, was partially destroyed in the hurricane. When they rebuilt, they named the nonfiction section after her. I have an insane idea, okay? What if Elizabeth is Bess? And they just heard wrong with Beth. And it's actually Bess. And the reason that she's important here is that she and him had an affair. Fortunately, we can now get this, right? And this is important because we're going to get a picture of him. Reprinting of an old book about Elias Roottree, blatant corporate propaganda. Okay. Good to get his picture again. Let's get him on the tree. This should lock some people in. What? Come on. That should have locked some people in, man. Really? Okay. That's fine. Let's see what we got here. Dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. But if they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be this book. This book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about him either. The reissue of this book was so lazy that they reused the famous photo of Elias from Business Watch, whose copyright had expired. Best thing it has going for it is that it's only 85 pages long. So Bess Williams is fairly irrelevant in this, unless we put in your name and we put in Williams, and you are an author, and I have no idea where I'm getting a photo of you, even a little bit. Seems close to impossible to get a photo of you at this point. Unless there is a hope and a prayer that we could find something else. The Bocadoro Library? Maybe? Okay, no longer exists. You find multiple libraries in the area. According to the website for the library system in Miami, the building where it once sat is now the Miami Print Museum. Searching for the Miami Print Museum, you come across their website, states their hours, list of exhibits. Building's very small, admission is free, and they only have room for a few different displays. One of the exhibits in their courtyard, which includes a fountain as well as a statue of an unknown author. Picture's been added to your evidence. Another is a printing press that is used by the Miami Sunday. So this is our statue, huh? That's Bess Williams right there. Unbelievable. Okay. I gotta try. Okay, good. Good. I love that. So that was good. It's Bess, not Beth. This makes a ton of sense to me. Very, very intrigued by the fact that we're not locking in Miracle Roottree.
Well,
he has.
Give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life.
Okay, Sam, let's do it.
3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees.
Okay.
First, that young man, the rapper.
I ignored that one.
He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news.
It's bad.
I felt terrible.
I'm with you, sister.
So I began helping the others.
Okay.
Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much
This'll be
faith
good.
in the second person that approached me. I went to the media prematurely.
Oh,
I
Sam.
admit my mistake there.
That's
But
pretty
the
bad.
person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company.
I love that it's always nighttime and this this woman's always at my door.
The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions.
Yeah.
But you're
I'm making progress
based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on.
That's important. Regina Clementine. Okay. Important. Very important.
Quite dense, but hopefully
Great.
useful.
Great. Dense records. Okay. So we were right about this, which is sick. We also know that they end up having a kid, which is insane. That's insane. That's insane. Okay, I'm just gonna continue to think that that's insane for right now. There's also another infidelity in 1949, which would put it as one of the 5 pieces is gonna be here. I guess this could be Miracle, but I really don't think it is, okay? I really, truly don't think it is. But it didn't lock in Helen Lennon, brother. Maybe you are Miracle. Maybe you are Miracle, brother. Which is interesting, to say the least. And then that means that you were also on here. I don't know. I don't know. That seems unrealistic to me. That seems very unrealistic to me. I'm not going to read these yet because I think that that's a very good next episode action for me. I think that Bess Williams, there's not much more we're going to get out of you. Unless we can find... I mean, do we know anything else about you as an author? You have an entire statue at the Bocadoro Library, man. You're telling me her only notable book is Family Man? Seems insane, right? That seems completely insane. I get the Bocadoro Library. I mean, I just can't imagine she's important anywhere in here. I mean, she's not going to be in Music Monthly. She's not going to be in Starlit. Teen Blast for all the kids that love Bess Williams' Family Man. I don't think so, brother. I don't think so. This is that Pick-a-Tea nonsense. Pick-a-Tea magazine, which is just a nonsense magazine pulled from the shelves. Demonic fish toy. We don't care. So never search that one ever again. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Notable events. Anonymom. I think that's where I want to do our last one today is Anonymom. Anonymous woman appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. Let's learn a little bit about this. Second high-profile case after Felix Fellows of a potential new Roottree being added to the Clanside Trust. We need our notes, okay? We need our notes. So this is Anonymom. Couple too many N's in here, but I'll just leave it. She claims she'd slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Roottree. It's fair, okay? Who didn't sleep with Guy Hudson at this point? Accusation came during the height of Roottreemania, began with a brief TV appearance. Appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Times. In the TV interview, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottree. The name Anonymom was not self-inflicted, seemed to spring up. In the day after the News Time article, Sam Madson publicly supported Anonymom due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymom went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired as more details came out. People became skeptical of her story. Accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period in the late 70s. After fumbling the 5-piece story so publicly, I would like all of this, by the way. After fumbling the 5-piece story so publicly, the Roottrees were more than prepared to handle all Clanside Trust cases. Within a week, a DNA test proved that Anonymom's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. Announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymom and the Roottrees, each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others who had built up hope that history could repeat after 5-piece felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money, demanded that she was held accountable, and some people even began to track down her true identity. Roottree Company felt pressure to put out a statement to curb that backlash, going so far as to say, though it is scientifically proven that Jane Doe Roottree is not a Roottree, this doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She had every right to make her claim. As it has been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash were the beginning of the end for Roottreemania, since much of the fun was the shared fascination about secret Roottrees. Other things, like that any fad had just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the final notable event related to the release of 6 pieces. Things soon went back to normal. Jane Doe Roottree has already been eliminated as potential new Roottree by the company's lawyers. Anonymom's affair does not appear on your updated tree. Here's my issue. I gained nothing? I gained nothing from this. Except for that I can potentially get a news time Anonymom, which is important. Anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time holding a picture of her daughter, Jane Doe Roottree. First and only mention of the phrase Anonymom in News Time came the week after when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. Summary of the initial cover article has been added to evidence. And that is, let's look at my evidence, please. It's over here, and it's right here. And I can't click either of those names, so what value do you provide me? Determined through DNA tests that Anonymous daughter was not a Roottree. Article, which did refer to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottree, but did not coin the phrase Anonymom, came after that, right after the time of her first TV interview. This is a summary. Anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Times shortly after 5Ps was confirmed. In an homage to the previous cover, she holds a photo of her daughter. Unlike 5Ps, she wished to remain anonymous. Both photos were obscured. Anonymous woman claimed to have had an affair with Guy Hudson while she was working as his secretary. She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period where many of the secretaries that had worked under Zach Morden were already gone. It says that she and the other woman were both underqualified and neither had typewriter experience. According to other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own requirements for hiring women. Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was present, the more excuses he found. Anonymous woman posits that these parties mostly seem to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claims she slept with him at one of these after parties. Confronted Guy when she found out he was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed as they came to an arrangement, paid her a significant amount of hush money on a recurring basis under the table. Used it to move away, start a new life. When Guy died, the money stopped coming. She assumed things had run their course. Went back to work at the department store. They're giving me way too much information about her for her to not be on this tree, man. Back to the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. Told everyone that her daughter's father walked out one day and never came back. Claimed that after seeing the fantastic article in News Time, she realized that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottrees company at the same time as 5P's mother, Joanna, their stories were eerily similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth. Article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottree, and all the payments were allegedly made in cash. However, using details that she provided in the News Times, the reporters were able to reach out to the other woman hired at the same time, who also remained anonymous. They successfully fact-checked the timeline of both women and confirmed the existence of the infamous after-parties. 5P's case was strengthened and their news story was subsequently published. Look, they give me a lot about her, right? They give me a lot about her. Because she went back to work at a department store. So she's in retail after the fact. But, like, you told me she wasn't on the list, man. And she never married anybody else. So like, theoretically, I know her name is not actually Jane Doe Roottree, but you're the potential one here. Because then you had your daughter, but we don't know anything about you. So that's tricky. That's tricky. Could be in the confidential documents that I just got given, right? Regina Clementine. Gonna be a play here. Mary Beth Clementine. We're gonna have a bunch of Elizabeth nonsense here in the future, but this is all things for me to unpack as time goes on, okay, in the next episode. Thanks for watching. As always, like on the video, much appreciated. I promise you I will have more Roottrees or Dead. I'm so sorry for the lapse between the last two. We had such a heater for the first episode, and then I left you. Olexamas is a busy season. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.